Okay, we're on. This is the Rogcast, and it is some amazing honor to be here with Gary Kroeger from apparently Saturday Night Live, which I watched
many years ago.
I remember you on it when I was a kid. I know
you were a little kid when I was on it.
Yeah, I just turned 50, so I remember.
Well, then you were pretty much the target. You're about 12 years old.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much our target audience. I always thought that, now it skewers a little older, but in my era, the Eddie Murphy era, I kind of thought we were going for basically 14-year-olds.
Yeah, it is or was my favorite show growing up. Still watch it. It's changed, but
I do too.
Eddie Murphy, of course. I guess Martin Short was on during that era, and
Billy Crystal, of course.
Billy Crystal.
Julia was not a star on the show, but she has emerged to be probably the biggest star to emerge from it in terms of television, in terms of Emmys.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I've read a lot. I read this book called Saturday Night Live, The Backstory. Or something.
I got that somewhere, signed by the authors.
And really, it was my favorite show. I think I was about 10 or 12, and we went to New York, and I got a Saturday Night Live sweatshirt.
Oh, did you go to the show?
I didn't get to go. Parents were too
That
cheap,
was exciting. You actually weren't old enough. I think you have to be 18 years old to attend the show.
Oh, maybe that was the deal. I thought it was just
I snuck my kid in at the age of 16. And that was a bit of a problem because, I think you have to be.
Maybe that was it.
Old enough to vote.
Yeah, we were just visiting. We were from Richmond here, returning to the north for some probably Thanksgiving, and went to Rockefeller Center. But I was
anyone saying from Richmond going north, it just sounds like a Civil War battle to me.
Right. As in, we are the former capital of the Confederacy.
That's right.
But families from New York City and North Jersey. So,
well, we're in our winter flannels, you and me.
Yep. Yeah. So, I've read up about this show. I remember vaguely when you were on it, and I've read about it. Did you not enjoy it much, or what didn't work out for you?
It's interesting. It's an interesting perspective because when you're in the middle of it, it's never quite what you want. Right. I wanted to do a lot more than I did. And I rarely felt a lot of momentum. I would have great highs in terms of having a good show, and then I would have a lousy show. So it was very frustrating in the midst of it because every week felt like your career was on the line. This week could make or break you, a breakout character or something.
Yeah.
And so that was very frustrating for me. But certainly in the rearview mirror, in retrospect, I look back and, hey, I'm in a relatively small club. I did it for 3 years. I've got a dozen things that I'm very proud of that I think were really excellent sketches and characters. I've got a lot of stuff that embarrasses me.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I did it, and I'm proud of that.
What was your favorite sketch to do or write or be in, maybe?
My favorite things were the ones that I wrote because I wrote them for me. I mean, in general, you write for yourself because that's how you get something on the air, get yourself on the air, rather. I liked quirky pieces that were about people that I made up, characters that were sort of on the underbelly. I mean, I had this character that was called El Dorco, and he was picked on by everyone in high school, but always managed to make out with the prettiest girl at the end. I mean, it was just my way of saying, you know what, we're winners after all.
Yeah.
And then I did a character, an old man who basically trimmed people's nose hairs in the lobby of hotels. And I know that sounds strangely not funny, but I liked odd things like that.
Yeah. Some of the ones I remembered, I don't remember those, but to be honest. Maybe I watched it every week, Saturday.
Well, they weren't big hits. El Dorco was
yeah.
on a couple of times. I made out with Jamie Lee Curtis, which was
nice.
a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
People remember my nerdy dentist. I liked nerds because I liked people who were picked on, but who ultimately won. I mean, that's basically the story I like to tell. And Ira Needleman was a nerdy dentist who did a rock video and got the date, and people still talk about that.
Yeah.
It was a neat film piece that we did.
I'm just at a loss again. Yeah. So, I mean, you can just recap. I don't know who's read all these books or studied this, but I read a lot of things like that it was one of the scariest jobs to have. It was very stressful, that you had, I guess it was 24-hour days, a few days a week, getting ready for the show. And then
all true, and highly stressful, and the highs and lows. People would cry. I got upset once. I mean, but at the same time, you have to keep your perspective. You're getting paid. You live in New York. You're being paid well enough to live in New York, and you get to be on TV. You get to write things that a few million people are going to watch, some of whom will enjoy. So again, in looking at it as a whole, especially in the past, it's like I'm sure there were bad times, but I have no bad memories.
So I'm trying to remember that it was Jim Belushi there. Yeah, at that point. And
Jim was there my second and third year.
And Eddie Murphy, I guess Martin Short was there.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy's career really took off the year that I got there. That's when 48 Hours came out, then Trading Places, then Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
And those were 3 mega hits, bam, 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 in that first year.
I remember that,
So he went from star of the show to supernova of the show.
Yeah. Just trying to remember who else was on there at the time. Well, Robert Downey Jr. might have been there.
He was there a year after me.
Oh.
And Anthony Michael Hall. And
Anthony Michael Hall.
Randy Quaid.
Right. So many people have been on, and even briefly, I just find out all the time. Reading it, you didn't even see them on there, but or they were writers for it. I think Conan O'Brien.
Conan was a writer. John Maloney was
right. Yeah.
Maroney. What am I saying here? Am I getting it right? Mulhaney.
Mulhaney. Yeah.
Good heavens.
I'm wondering what that.
Yeah, and he's a big star, and I got his name wrong. But lots of Bob Odenkirk.
Right.
Wrote for the show.
Super Dave, right? Was he the Super Dave? Yeah.
No. Bob Odenkirk went on. You know who he is.
The guy who's the Better Call Saul guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Who's the other guy? No, Super Dave has another name. I can't remember it. He died.
Well, Super Dave Osborne, who passed away. Did he do Saturday Night Live? I mean, his brother, Albert Brooks, did films in the early.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his brother.
Brooks was on there. Yeah, or something. That great comedian, underrated Al Brooks. I love his movies. I guess no relation to Mel Brooks, or else he would have been bigger.
Right.
Great comedian.
I believe there's no relation.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that too. The Albert Brooks and Super Dave were related.
Right. Brothers.
Yeah. That's cool. Let's see. Other questions covered. Was Nora Dunn on there at the time, or was that after you?
She followed me as well. The women during was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Robin Duke, Mary Gross, Pamela Stevenson. And I'm in touch with all of them still. Not Pam Stevenson. Did I forget any women? Those were the women during my era.
Right. I mean, I just remember I loved the Don Pardo voice. Who did? He did.
It's Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I call myself. I think I'm a pretty good impressionist. So.
Oh yeah.
I loved doing that voice, and then he left, and of course, then I was thinking, that guy that is doing it now, who was a former cast, Daryl Hammond, right?
Yeah.
He's the announcer. And I was thinking he would do this great impression of Don Pardo when he came in. But
Daryl Hammond can do he's amazing. I think he's just comfortable being there doing this.
Yeah.
You know, working on camera when he wants.
Yeah. That's probably better. And maybe there was some caveat or contract thing. They said no one can do Don Pardo's voice. I don't know.
No one should try. It has to be something completely different. Yeah.
Right. But I would just sit there watching the TV and going, it's Saturday Night Live.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very well. And that told us from the other room that something exciting was going to happen.
Right.
I mean, his voice was part of the trademark.
Right.
And you know, may he rest in peace. He was a wonderful man.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. We're okay. You were probably not there when Dana Carvey or Mike Myers.
They're all after me.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed them all. I've enjoyed every incarnation of the show.
Yeah.
You know, people love to criticize the show. Sometimes reviewers love to say, oh, Saturday Night Live has lost its luster. Mm-hmm. I've thought that every cast, every year, even with the changes, is always terrific.
Yeah.
Always. And currently as well.
There are dud skits or nights.
Of course, there's all. It's like you make the Hall of Fame if you hit the ball, if you get on base 3 times out of 10. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I think Saturday Night Live had a better batting average than that. But yeah, I've done my share of duds.
Yeah, it still has for me. It's been on for what, 48 seasons now?
Yeah, right.
I've been watching, and you know, the openers, the makeup.
Yeah.
For that, the impressions, they can make anyone look like someone else. Like the new guy doing Trump, he doesn't look at all like Trump regularly. He looks more like Conan Bryan, but
he was quite a find. I think he was a TikTok find.
Oh, wow. James Johnson.
But a really good impressionist. And not only the voice, but he gets the facial expressions, the mannerisms. He's really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so is it all true? Maybe you didn't know because you weren't in this period, but they said that Dr. Evil was based on Lorne Michaels.
It is true.
That Mike Myers and Dana Carvey had a brief feud.
Yes. And I learned that from, I mean, not Dana personally, but I heard Dana talk about this on a talk show or a podcast.
Yeah.
And he made that clear. But I had heard also, if you knew what Lorne Michaels sounded like, and then you heard Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
I think we all realized even then, the first time we saw Dr. Evil go, you know, it was clearly, I'm not going to try to do what I don't do well, but it was clearly an impression.
Right.
Not of the voice and a few of the mannerisms, not of the character.
Great series. Yeah. That was, you know, based on all those James Bond villains combined with Lorne Michaels. A very, I just love those movies too. I mean,
absolutely.
Super fan here of comedy, I guess. I tried to do stand-up for a while, did the impressions, musical comedy in Richmond, which is not.
Richmond's a big city. Fun. I mean, it's a city.
It is.
We've got a lot of culture.
We do.
Good theater.
You know, we have a lot here. We do, but you know,
do.
Keeping it real, it is not New York or LA.
No.
It's one thing, but it takes courage for anyone to do any of this.
I tried stand up and I was terrible. It's really hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I, you know, if you're willing to do it, you have to be willing to fail, because even your best material that killed one night, the chemistry's wrong or you're off one night, you have to be willing to suffer that rejection and be okay with it.
I mean, I had this guy on, James Inman, through this Kevin guy who's my promoter apparently now, or guest finder, whatever he is. Just this James Inman was on. I'd never heard of him, but he's in some movie called Unbookable, I think they're called.
Good name.
About comedians who got kind of canceled because they're controversial. And
I like it.
I think that's what it's called. It's on.
If it's not called that, something should be called that.
Yeah.
Unbookable. Be a good name for a biography.
It's on Paramount Plus, I think. And it was just, but he was just saying all these tips about stand-up and how you do it. And apparently I wasn't doing it so great, you know. I had a few little gags that worked at first. Like I would, you know, go to a mostly black comedy room and say, "Don't kill me. I'm Jewish. I'm not one of them. Don't come after me. I'm on your side." That worked for a while.
Yeah, you know, it might work really well, particularly now.
Nah, it had to be retired, you know. Right now, a lot of stuff doesn't work. I mean, it used to work.
Well, the parameters have changed. Right. Our consciousness has changed. Yeah. Logically so. Right. Hyper awareness of others is a good thing. But at the same time, there's a lot of fear factor. And I think that there's a tendency in our culture now to perceive too much as offensive rather than taking some of the slings and arrows and sorting them out. There's a tendency now to just be offended. Right. And that's hurting comedy.
It definitely.
Comedy should not have a whole lot of rules.
Right. Totally. I mean, you don't want to be offensive. You don't want to be a Me Tooer or a cancel culture, you know, misogynist like they did years ago before they knew about that. But you should, I feel that too. It's a freedom is probably why I enjoyed it and got all over into it. Because it's like you can get up on a mic and say whatever the fuck you want and just be like, whatever, I'm free to say what I want, but take it too far.
I like there is a counter movement now, not to dismiss the things that we've learned about cultural appropriation and cancellation and all those things. But I feel like we're stretching our arms a little bit again, pushing the envelope because we have to. You can't just keep telling the same jokes about the same things within the same safe parameters.
Right.
Comedy is supposed to be a satirical look at the world, which means you may say or do some things that make people question what you're saying.
Yeah.
It may even offend. But to me, it's not the comedian's responsibility to not offend. It's up to us individually to determine what offends us and what doesn't, but not to blame the comedian for simply putting it out there. In fact, often it creates a good conversation about delicate issues when a comedian goes too far.
Right.
You know, the great monologist. I mean, I love Dave Chappelle. You know, the only one equal, I would say, is George Carlin, you know, in his, when he was really in his wheelhouse. They're great monologists saying things that are considered controversial, but I don't think they say them to be controversial. They say them because they're unafraid of the subject.
Right. And that brings, that opens that up. More people be willing to talk about, you know, that type of thing, controversial stuff, and that helps, you know. Dave Chappelle, I mean, I've watched him like everyone else, and some of the things he did. You know, I could never do those things.
No, he has a unique story, a unique perspective, an unusual honesty.
Right. Yeah.
And I even said in something recently, I was asked about Chappelle, and he tells the truth. It doesn't mean that's your truth necessarily, but it is his truth. So you have to appreciate the fact that somebody is not treating you with kid gloves. They're treating you as a functioning, sentient human being. With the intelligence to weigh this stuff.
Yeah, and he's kind of the one defending comedy now. One of the ones.
Well said.
We have the right to say what we want. We're comedians. It's a joke. We're making commentary. We're not being racist. But anyway, that's just what else? So tell us a little bit about your background, perhaps. Where are you from? And
I'm in Iowa now. I moved back here. I left the business 19 years ago. And I'm retired now. I've been working in advertising.
Right. Right.
I loved working in New York, Chicago, and LA, but I didn't love the business. I didn't love.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I didn't love the lifestyle of show business.
Yeah.
I've always just wanted to be a guy about town doing his groceries, raising kids. I love to perform, but that structure just didn't make me happy.
Right. Right.
And so I left it 19 years ago. But I came from here originally.
Yeah.
Went to Chicago, went to Northwestern. That led to doing theater in Chicago, which led to New York, which led to LA. And you know, I often say to people, I'm a good Google. You know, you'll see some things. Go, oh, I didn't know you did that. But I made a career for, I don't know, 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, a decent career. So that's my
Yeah.
story in a nutshell.
No, that was quick. Yeah. I mean, did you get into it? Were you inspired to do this by certain?
Yes. I've never wanted to do anything else. I was a little kid who liked to put on shows for his friends. I was active in theater in high school. I studied theater at Northwestern. I got involved with the practical theater in Chicago with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Brad Hall, Paul Barash, Rush Pearson. And that led to Saturday Night Live. I think ultimately as a boy, my dream was to be Dick Van Dyke or Red Skelton or Barney or Don Knotts.
Right. Right.
And that didn't exactly happen. It's what I pursued. It's what I wished for. Tom Hanks' career would have been the one if I said, you know, of someone of my age. I said, that would have been nice. But it just didn't happen that way.
Right. Who was that name? Tom what?
Tom Hanks.
Hanks. Oh, yeah.
You could have Hanks.
Yeah.
But that's a career that I could look at and go, that would have been nice to fashion if the cards had been played that way. But you know, that's rare. That's like winning the lottery, having a career like that. Right.
I mean, people don't get it, at least from what I can tell, how hard this stuff is. Whether
it's hard.
Musician,
it's hard.
Yeah.
And it does take luck because there's lots of very talented people who don't make it or can't sustain the career.
Yeah.
So it does take a certain amount of perseverance, sticking with it, because your luck number may come up every once in a while and you got to be ready when it does.
Yeah, I mean, you can win Academy Awards one year and then be out of work apparently for years or never get it again.
Yeah, I still kind of hope somebody says, Kroeger, he looks all right for 65. Let's make him the funny janitor,
So you're out of it completely. You have another business venture or something?
Well, I got into advertising for 17 years. And I do lots of community theater, which isn't the same, but at the same time, it's still performing. It's still collaboration. You still have an audience.
Right.
And so the thrill is the same for me anyway. And then I have a consulting business. But like I said, I'm more or less retired now. I just do my consulting business as I want. I do a lot of voiceovers around the country still. Nice. So I keep and like I say, I like to keep somewhat. I have a podcast. Gary and Kenny Show. Kenny would get angry if I didn't plug it. The Gary and Kenny Show. All the podcast platforms, YouTube.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get 105 people.
Oh, that's just fine.
Here. Yeah.
It's hard to build an audience, and we know how hard that is.
I joke about it. I'm grateful. That's like,
of course,
listeners have joined every month since I started.
You keep at it, and you gather, and something happens where it gets onto a platform where people notice. You just don't know. You just keep at it.
It might not, but this is already reached the top of the mountain with this Kevin again. Kevin Patrick, he's known as. I can't believe this. Not, I had some other, to me, famous people on. Some lady, Jackie Naaman Jones from the Manos series.
Yeah.
Child actor, and this guy last week from Superman, the first.
Oh, that's cool.
Movie. And I'm like, this is enough. If that's all I get, or keep getting guests like this and no one watches, do whatever,
whatever. You have a very good attitude about it. We do it. Kenny and I are trying to build our show, and we do it because we enjoy it. I'm also very political. I've run for political office. I have a political blog called Gary Has Issues. Here I'm plugging my things, GaryHasIssues.com. So
What
I
did
keep
you
busy.
run?
I've got 5 kids,
Yeah.
so life is.
What office did you run, or have you run?
I ran for Congress for primary from Iowa in 2015. I was running, and I bowed out of that race and went into the state house race to be a state representative. And I didn't win, but I really enjoyed the experience of running for 2 years and knocking on doors and putting up my yard signs and debating.
So did anyone know who you were? Did you say?
Well, in this community, people know who I am. I'm in Iowa. I'm in Waterloo, Iowa. I didn't have to. In fact, that was usually held against me. Oh, look, the showbiz guy, the Saturday Night Live guy. He's just joking around. I mean, I had to fight that stigma a lot. But I think I proved myself.
Yeah, it was. That's like Al Franken.
Yeah, I talked to Al about running when I was running. He gave me good advice.
Yeah, a lot of actors get into politics, or former actors. Obviously, some do better than others. Of course.
Some become president.
Yeah. I was young, probably 8 when Reagan became president, but
I was in college.
But I remember my grandfather at the time said, "Ronald Reagan, the actor, is running."
Yeah, right.
He had already been governor of California, of course,
president of Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
He had cred. I'm not of that party.
Yeah,
but he had credibility.
Yeah, you're raised in one thing, and then you see what's going on later, and you make your own decision. But back then it was just a funny old guy talking about jelly beans.
That's right. Yeah, well put.
Probably Phil Hartman helped me get to that. That was him, I think, doing the Reagan.
Well, when I was on SNL, Joe Piscopo did the Reagan.
Oh, right.
Every era does the president.
Right,
Joe was our guy who did the president.
Yeah. Did you know Phil Hartman at all?
I've met him on 2 occasions. Nice guy.
Right. Yeah.
I remember I saw him at a Saturday Night Live reunion, and I said to him, I said, "Phil, you've had the Saturday Night Live career that I tried to have, that I wish." He said, "Well, Gary, thank you very much." Yeah. And this is somewhat tragic. He said, I don't know how I got so lucky. I met the woman of my dreams.
Yeah.
Bryn. Later, that turned out to be so tragic. But at that time, late 80s, he was just so satisfied and happy. And that was nice to see. And it was so shocking, ultimately, that out of that happiness came such tragedy.
Right. Yeah. And apparently, I read that book, I guess it was it a posthumous biography, Remember Me or something?
I don't think I know it. I
had it. I'm guessing it was after he died, but
well, then I guess he didn't write it, did he?
He did not write it. No, it would have been just a biography, not auto. But it was just kind of that same thing. He felt so lucky, and all these people said he was not like any of the characters he played. He was kind of really reserved and
down to earth. He wanted to be a husband and a father, and he was.
Right.
And an extremely versatile, collaborative actor. Part of his gift is that he knew when to sit back.
Right.
Often he would let Dana Carvey, take the lead, and the way he played second fiddle was what you noticed. I mean, I admired him greatly.
Yeah, when he was Ed McMahon with
Carvey. Well, that's a perfect, yes, perfect example.
Correct, sir. Yeah, I loved that stuff. Dana Carvey. I mean, even to this day, I saw him doing Biden and Trump in the same skit.
I think I saw that too.
He was guest hosting. Yes. For the Kimmel, I think
it was something like that, but I just saw that myself. Yeah, he's good. He's I think he had some health issues at one point, and I sort of faded away. But he's coming back. He's funny. I know he's out doing stand up, and he's super talented.
Amazing. But that's I think all my impressions are based on Saturday Night Live people's impressions of the real people.
That's the way a lot of people start.
Yeah, which is cool, but what else are you gonna do? You hear them so much doing them.
Sure.
You have an ear for it, Not much is original. I mean, comedy.
It's all recycled on one, or something inspired you. Someone inspired you. Yeah, we're constant replication.
Right. People again don't know that. Some people, I don't know about you, a little off topic, but for me, this era of the Orange Man, past 5 or 6 years now, it's just really been enlightening for myself, at least, to be like, I thought I wasn't that smart. I thought I was, not the smartest guy. Well, and all these people come out.
Yeah, I've been around long enough now, but this era has frightened me.
Yeah, it's pretty
because I've been frightened that what if this never ends? What if it keeps getting worse? But I've seen things go in giant cycles before where people get tired of something. And I'm sensing that people are, even supporters of Trump, have begun to just wear out.
Yeah, I think
so. I'm hoping that they're a little less self-aggrandizement. I'd like to see people become a little more self-effacing again, as opposed to a demagogue.
Yeah, I mean, you could go on and on with that one. I think it's even Steve Colbert just stopped saying Trump after a while.
Yeah, well, and I don't need to try to do anything that Colbert, Kimmel, they're all doing it.
Yeah.
They're all doing the humor as it needs to be done better than anybody. So I don't even bother to venture into that league.
Yeah, and these aren't hard to do. These people are so charismatic or always on TV. How can you not know how to be some Trump accent or Obama? And I won't get into it. I'm not the guest, but I have a whole range of amateur president impressions. I did it once at a stand-up. No one was there except the host of an open mic that was for music. Mostly was like her and her boyfriend and one or two other people. And they recorded it. That was cool. But I was like, this is my first special, my first being recorded ever video of stand-up.
Do you have it still?
Cool. Yeah, I have it somewhere. It was only like less than a year ago.
You got to trot that out once in a while.
Right.
I've got everything I ever did is on VHS, and it's all in boxes in the garage. Yeah. And I don't even have a VHS player, so I can't watch anything. But I'll never throw it away. Someday I want to sit and watch all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you could get that transferred.
Yeah, I've done some of that.
On it, but I mean, so what? Moving forward, again, I could go on and on with this one. You did advertising.
Yeah.
Did you own your own thing, or?
Well, I was the creative director at what's called a tier 3 advertising company. We do local market, but not just this market, small markets all over the country. But even with small markets, I had clients in New York and Los Angeles, but they aren't national spots. They aren't $1 million budgets. My budgets were $1,500, but they would be primarily automotive car spots in markets all over the country. And I enjoyed it. Yeah, it wasn't particularly challenging, but I liked the stability. I liked having health care, and I liked a regular check. Made it easier to raise a family.
Yeah, I guess it's not a far move. You're still writing.
I was still writing and directing, and I still freelance doing that. I'm still hired to do a lot of that stuff. So I always, again, it wasn't like having my own sitcom, nationally syndicated or anything. But it was still a creative life. It still was collaboration, which is what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I was still trying to put products into media that were quality.
Right.
You know, and so yeah, I did it for 17 years, so I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think, well, okay, my mom was a doctor, and she claims that one of her patients was working at the Martin Agency, which is in Richmond, and that they created the Geico Gecko.
Oh, sure.
Whether that's true or not.
Wait, no, that is true. Did you say the Martin Agency?
Yeah.
They're the best.
Oh,
they created that. They also created the Trunk Monkey. I don't know if you know the Trunk Monkey. Right. One of the best spots in local automotive car advertising. In fact, my company was often asked, can you do something like the Trunk Monkey? They did amazing things like that. Clever concepts. They even used audio animatronics for some things.
Right. Yeah.
They had a series of commercials where the car salesperson was a badger, an actual badger.
Wow.
No, they're the best. They're the best. So if they claim the Geico Gecko, they probably did it. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the high water mark.
I just took it with a grain of salt because my mom was a psychiatrist. So I was thinking maybe this person had a delusion that their father owned the Martin Agency and invented the Gecko. But
and they are. I wasn't sure that was Richmond, but I knew it was out east in the South.
Yeah.
So it all fits for me.
No, great. They're doing well.
Tell that person they're not crazy.
I never met the person, but the client of my mom, the psychiatrist. So, I can tell her that.
Yeah, tell her I think it's true.
Right. Cool. I've thought about doing advertising as well, just to the creative market. And I think my mom also did advertising. She grew up in New York. And she had a college, seemed like it was like a college internship at, she loved to tell this story. I don't remember what it was. McCann's, it's one of the big ones.
McCann. Yeah. Erickson, McCann.
McCann Erickson. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So maybe it's in the blood if it's not too late for me. But
never too late.
Right?
Not too late for me to get back into a new career.
Yeah,
I got 30 more years.
Yep. 30 to for me, 30 to 50, maybe, with the miracles of modern science.
There you go.
Never know. Could all be robots with
maybe
like Futurama, have our head on the top of a robot.
Could be worse.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, what else? Here? Kroeger, is that like a
German?
I was just wondering. Kroeger, right?
Kroeger.
So are you anyway related to
the grocery store?
Grocery store. Wow.
But related, but not my family.
Oh, okay.
When the Kroegers came over, my side of the family went west. Yeah. They stayed in Ohio, became grocers or whatever, created the Kroeger empire. But the uncles that were my side of the family became like cobblers, dirt farmers or something. Right. And they turned the umlaut into OE. I don't know if this is interesting to anyone who isn't a German student, but the KR umlaut O, the Kroeger grocery store, just took the dots off the O, but my family put OE in there to imitate the umlaut. So there's our little
that is
language lesson
to me. My sister reminded me of it, even though I knew it. Like I went to a summer camp, as a kid, and one of my nicknames, actually kind of mocking names, they called me Kroeger. And they didn't have Kroeger here until maybe 10 years ago. So I didn't know what the hell Kroeger was. What is this Kroeger stuff? But,
let's go Kroegering. That's been the company motto
for everything.
Yeah, the best of everything. Our generic brands are really the best.
Right.
From what I've been told.
Yeah. That's kind of like my name with Kohler. Everyone assumed I was connected to the toilet empire.
Right.
Like, I wish, maybe distantly.
Probably are.
Yeah.
But, like me and the Kroegers, I wouldn't inherit a grapefruit.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool stuff. Plenty of time for me, not doing much here. What else is going on? Do you have some sort of projects with the community theater?
Well, not right now. I just had surgery, old man stuff, 3 hernias.
Wow.
So I removed myself from doing anything for a little while. But winter's coming. I think it is actually. I'm looking outside. I think it might be snowing right now. I'm just kind of. I write and direct murder mysteries that I do locally, and I'll do a one at a local hotel, an old classic Victorian hotel. And they're a lot of fun. I'm doing one in January, but that's the only theatrical thing I've got going. I'm just trying to get healthy again, and
I ironically am about to have
through the holidays.
Hernia surgery too.
Yeah, are you? Mesh? Get the mesh?
I've got 2 of them, one on each side.
Well, and inguinals?
Yes, that type. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt. They're gonna put the mesh in. Do what they say. Don't move too much. I hate painkillers, but you need them for about 3 days.
They say Jews are known for complaining and whining and worrying, but I'm kind of concerned about that one. I'm having another one.
You'll be okay. It's just that it's really crummy for a few days, and it's really, for me, it's been a very slow recovery. I still can't go to the gym or anything like that.
Well, that is
a sore leg from walking funny.
You use the groinal area.
That old groinal area is used a lot. So, just take it really easy. To me, you're a young man, but it's a sucky surgery. It's over and done quickly. They put you under and you're all patched up. But
not that one, but after
have somebody take care of you for a few days.
Yep. Got it worked out. Whole people, a bunch of tribal people worrying about me.
Good.
Nice people.
Let the village take care of you.
The village. I don't know. You just never know what you have in common with people. I'm like, maybe.
Well, we've got our inguinal hernias in common.
Yeah.
And flannel shirts.
Yeah. Glasses.
And you've got some gray hair too.
I do. Yep. Right in the middle.
I'd say our hair's not even dissimilar.
Yeah.
Glasses.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just everyone.
People think we're related to wealthy families.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Who knows?
You've got a piano behind you. I've got a bass guitar behind me. We're musical.
Yep. You never know. Guess what I'm getting at? Maybe this is why Kevin is getting me all these guests, because I have things in common with them. I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Don't know.
Well, you have an interesting life. You have lots of plates spinning.
Yeah, I do actually. Do you ever write music or anything?
Not seriously.
Right.
I've written my share of comedic songs.
Right.
I still just. I like to sing. I still do musical theater.
Right.
I like to play my guitar and my bass to Beatle music, basically. Cool. That's all I do. My son has gotten very good on guitar, and we sing together. My youngest is studying music and wants to be a composer.
Nice.
And he's learning the keyboards pretty well. So, there's music is in the blood.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just great stuff. Where in Iowa, roughly? Because I have family.
Northeast Iowa, Waterloo, Iowa. Northeast. I'm about 4.5 hours west of Chicago. I'd say about the same distance north of St. Louis.
Okay.
I'm 3 hours south of Minneapolis.
Where is Des Moines? Is that
Des Moines is 100 miles to the southwest.
Right. Cedar Rapids, that's a big
Cedar Rapids is 60 miles to the south.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. My good cousin, first cousin, lives somewhere in Iowa, but I cannot remember. There's a University of Iowa.
Well, University of Iowa is in Iowa City. Yeah, South
Iowa
Cedar
City.
Rapids.
That's
Yeah,
where he
there you
is.
go. See, we're not that clever when it comes to names.
No, and you forget stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm young still, but yeah, I get that forgetting thing. I have to look it up on the phone, or drives you nuts.
Wow. Watch what happens as you get older. I get up to go to the other room and can't remember why I got up.
Done that. Been there.
Hopefully it's not to go to the bathroom.
It's worse. No, that one I haven't, but I'll be like spending maybe half an hour trying to remember where I put the phone, or
I've lost the phone in my hand.
Yeah.
These are the things that happen. Yeah.
Yep. That's life. Yep. You live with it. You move on, keep going. And just great to have you on here. Appreciate it.
Well, I've enjoyed talking to you. You know, you've got an interesting show, and I want to watch it grow.
Oh,
okay. I want to watch, because I want you to send this to me. I'll put it on I've got 5,000 followers. You know, I'll put it on my thing.
Yeah,
you'll notice that you get some views.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean,
a few thumbs up.
I'm on this Anchor FM, Anchor.fm. I don't know if you use that.
I've heard of it.
It's all audio, but now they do video.
But now they do video. Do you put a YouTube link up too?
Personally, as people have heard, I had to stop using YouTube and Facebook Live due to some unsavory people. I won't mention their cool,
sounds interesting, but I won't press you.
No, there's some interesting guys, and in fact, I try to see the good side of stuff. Like, I started out doing any YouTube at all, like maybe a year and a half ago, and I have to laugh at it. Looking back, I had a big fro thing going, trying to grow my hair out. I had bifocals that were huge, and I didn't practice or plan anything, and I was nervous just doing a video for a friend. We had a series, local YouTube series, and these guys gave me very rough criticism, but I took it in. So it's like, practiced, got better at this. Now I have a podcast, got a good haircut finally.
Yeah, it's good hair. Good hair.
It was crazy though. I had this crazy fro out to here with all this gel in it. And the time I did the video, wearing that winter jacket or something else, shirt like
all this, sounds interesting to me. I'd like to see it all.
And
sure,
yeah, it was funny looking back. But I'm just, even these guys are very, we'll say, delusional, and they're probably stealing this somehow, or they would. In fact, they find ways to watch stuff even when they're blocked. So I'm not on Facebook Live or YouTube.
All right.
But anyway, if they're watching, I always like to say, you guys, you did change my life. You helped me out.
There you go. I'm serious. That's a very good perspective, because we all have these things in life with things that didn't go our way and that were unfair or unjust.
Yeah.
But we also have when we're lucky, we have the ability to choose to make those positive things and to focus. And sometimes it's to show them that they're wrong, but it gives us a new opportunity and a way to build.
Yeah.
So, like, you look at it the right way.
Have a positive thing about it. They want to joke around for the rest of my life and do jokes with me about me. If you look me up on YouTube, you would see a bunch of this nonsense, but they're creative. They inspired me. Even they do a podcast. I was on it. And, actually I was like, how do they do all this stuff? How are they taking YouTube videos that they didn't have access to from this other guy and me, putting them on their show? And I figured out, well, they're using something like StreamYard. It's easy. Yeah. So, whatever, good or bad, I just like to see the good and the bad in everyone. Learn to live.
Man in everyone. That's a Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder.
Yes.
Ebony and ivory.
I loved Joe Piscopo and
oh yeah, and Eddie,
one of my favorites doing that one.
And You Are Blind. Yeah.
Yes,
I was there for that stuff, and I loved it.
You were there for that. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Great. I mean, it was an exaggeration. Well, Eddie was great as Stevie Wonder.
Eddie was a genius. Eddie is a genius.
And is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a genius.
Piscopo.
I loved Joe, and I still do.
What happened to him? He just retired?
No, he has a radio show. He has a political radio show in New Jersey. And he did his act in Atlantic City for a lot of years. He's a masterful musician, plays many different instruments.
I didn't know.
We stay in touch a little bit. I admired Joe a great deal. He worked harder than anybody at SNL. And I think he's taken a few hits that he never deserved. But he was sort of in the shadow of his best friend, Eddie Murphy. Nobody can equal that. I admire Joe a great deal. I like Joe. So if this gets to Joe, I love you.
A series of old or retired actors who were still around.
Well, let me be part of that series. Yeah. Old retired actor.
Well, you know what I mean. You know, not old, but, you know, former people like this guy.
Former people. Yeah, I'll buy that.
I don't know what you want to call it. Still, you could go politically correct on that. Yeah. Upwardly mobile, whatever, you know. Still upwardly mobile, former, I don't know, whatever.
Whatever. Former whatever, that works.
Yeah.
Former whatever. That's how you'll title me. Gary Kroeger, former whatever.
No, I won't title you that.
That work. Whatever you do works for me. I take your attitude. I've always embraced this. Whatever it is, it is. The things I can't control, I can't control.
Right.
So what it is, it may inspire me, it may motivate me, might, you know, I mean, it's all positive. You know, I'm on this side of the daisy still. So
it might piss you off.
It's all positive.
But you can turn it around.
Right.
Easily, you know.
Let it light your fire.
Right. Yep. Jim Morrison there, I guess.
Yeah, you know your references.
Yeah, I was in bands with music that was way older than me for a long time.
Yeah, well, that's the stuff that I still enjoy. Rock.
Yeah.
I still go mine the 60s and 70s for my listening pleasure.
Still,
me too.
You know, the Doors, the Who, the Beatles, the Stones, all that, Led Zeppelin. That's in my wheelhouse.
Me too. Well, let me show you something.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll appreciate this or not. Hang on.
Probably will. Let's see. Gary Kroeger is reaching for something.
This is my left-handed Hofner bass guitar.
Nice.
Now it's left-handed. So I obviously have a McCartney bass, and I am left-handed.
Oh, you are actually left-handed.
So, so having a left-handed McCartney bass is a big deal to me.
That's quite a chunk of change.
My earphones.
There
you are.
Former singer in a band, we did a Beatles kind of a 60s invasion tribute, and he had a copy Hofner that said Hofner, and then he has the real one, but it's right-handed, of course, because he's right-handed.
Well, like I said, I'm a lefty.
Yeah, that's
it was just my lucky connection to Paul.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when I was a little boy, and he was my guy because he was a lefty.
It's probably more valuable, right?
Yes.
Not a Paul McCartney. It sounded like a Swedish guy.
Doesn't the blood rush to your stomach?
Right?
Yeah. She's a drag, well-known drag. Well, I got to leave you now. I got to cook for a family.
Great. No. Honor and privilege. Thank you.
You honor me by honoring me. You're very kind and very flattering.
Have any more friends that want to be honored? Send them my way.
I'll do that, and I'll be in touch with Kevin.
Okay,
so just let me know when you're going to put it on, and I'll air the show all over the place.
Yeah, it'll be on Anchor FM probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, I'll look forward to it.
I can send you both audio and the video.
Good. Do that.
We'll do that. But again, thanks so much.
Roger, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right.